Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, starring Simu Liu, Aquafina, Ming-Hir Zhang, forgive me if I said that wrong, Fala Chen, Florian Mutino, forgive me if I said that wrong, Benedict Wong, Michelle Yeoh, and Tony Leung, and directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. Now, people are wondering, well, not that they've asked me or anything, but people were thinking about where's Loki? Well, the truth is, there's a season 2, and I don't do TV shows. I just do miniseries, like Hawkeye, that's coming out later this year. That's a miniseries. WandaVision, that's a miniseries. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's a miniseries. But Loki, unfortunately, is a TV series, but I'll still watch it. But the only one I don't think I'll watch is What If, because I don't like the screw up of the timeline it does right after Loki, in my opinion. But let's get into this. I did see the movie twice. Once in IMAX, once in 3D, and the IMAX is better as far as the visuals goes than the but the 3D looked good too. It's just not a it's a post-conversion job, so what's the point? Let's get into this movie. Thousands of years ago, Zhu Wenwu finds the Ten Rings, 10 mystical weapons that grant their user immortality and great power. Wenwu amases an army of warriors called the Ten Rings. Remember the first Iron Man? If not, don't be ashamed. I've seen that movie quite at least a dozen times. And conquers many kingdoms and topples governments throughout history. As this opening sequence is well acted and well explained in 1996, well, not in 19. Well, the next scene is in 1996, and Wenwu begins searching for the village of Ta Lo, which is said to harbor various mythical beasts, in order to expand his power. And despite I've never read the comic books, it's done better than in other movies. He finds the entrance of the village, but is stopped from entering by the village guardian Ying Li. The two fall in love and have two children, Shang Chi and Xia Ling. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Please forgive me because I'm going to mispronounce it for the whole show. Wenwu abandons the Ten Rings and his organization to be with his family. However, Li is eventually murdered by the Iron Gang, which we'll see later in the film, old rivals of the Ten Rings, and Wenwu once again takes up the Ten Rings to massacre them and resume his criminal activities, which is not a life people with kids should get into. And that's a scene that that's going to be shown a little bit later in the film, but I'm going a little bit too fast there. Shang-Chi begins training in martial arts and is sent by Wenwu at the age of 14 to assassinate the leader of the Iron Gang. And after fulfilling a mission, a traumatized Shang-Chi escapes to San Francisco, where he adopts the name Sean, which makes perfect sense. And I really do like this opening sequence, as it is told better here than, say, Thor: The Dark World, which is still the worst in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in my opinion. In present day, Sean works at a valet with his best friend Katie, who's been friends since high school, and when they first met, I'll say, she gets in front of two people singing Hotel California to avoid fights, which was pretty funny for their first meeting, as they do karaoke on A Whole New World from Aladdin and other songs I can't remember the names of off the top of my head, which was also pretty funny, as this movie has comedic moments. As he picks up Katie to go to work, her grandmother asks Sean when they're going to get married, which was rather awkward, as the dialogue is funny in a corny way. Sean and Katie are on the bus together as a thug asks Sean for his pendant in his neck and have a kick-ass fight, as the fight scene was awesome, as one guy with one hand and one knife in the other hand, named Razor Fist, fights with Sean while the bus driver is knocked out, and Sean drives the bus briefly. As the kung fu in this movie is something I really liked in this movie, in my opinion, as it was a kick-ass moment. While Katie drives the bus and Sean tells the people to go to the front end of the bus, to the back half is cut in half, and the bus can't stop as the brakes are busted, but they get out of it alive after the henchman says to Sean, "You and your sister will get what you deserve." And Sean goes back to his home country to warn his sister Zieling, as we see a flashback of Sean becoming an assassin fighter while fighting with Death Dealer, who I swear looks like the bad guy from Big Hero 6 because of the mask part of the thing. But luckily they gave him a name in this one that I can go with. As Sean tells Katie his real name is Shang Chi, as they arrive on his home country and they look for Zieling, and the cinematography is outstanding when they get there. I mean, seriously, man, my God. They arrive at Zieling's fighting dojo as Shang-Chi goes in the ring after the Abomination from the Incredible Hulk versus Wong from Doctor Strange, as he fights with his sister Zieling. And at first I thought she was brainwashed, but nope, she's just vengeful against her brother for leaving her in the first place. And if it were me, if I had a brother that left me for dead, I'd want to find him and beat his ass, excuse my French. And we find out she owns the building where they fight at, and that scene was an awesome fight scene. Shang-Chi thinks Zieling sent him a postcard when she didn't, and an ambush comes in the building as Zieling abandons Shang-Chi and Katie to get captured and have another kung fu fight scene. And I'm going to confess now, I love the kung fu in this, like Snake Eyes, but this is so far the much better movie than Snake Eyes, in my opinion. Zieling comes in and helps Shang-Chi and Katie fight the bad guys, as Death Dealer takes the second pendant, and Zieling as Shang-Chi gets him and fights him, as Wenwu enters and takes Shang-Chi and Zieling and Katie back to his house. And with the 10 rings, and Zieling tells Katie she wasn't allowed to fight with his warriors, as she observed and made it her own, as she abandoned the place when she was 16 years old. Just like Shang-Chi left when he was at age 14. And the movie is breathtaking with the kung fu, and the cinematography looks magnificent, but the acting was a little corny in my opinion. For example, Wenwu was named the Mandarin after a chicken dish, as he tells the origin story of how the 10 rings from Iron Man 1 captured Tony Stark. Go figure. And the Mandarin scaring Americans in Iron Man 3, so the third film did happen in the MCU, which caught me by surprise. Like a character from Iron Man 3 will be here in a few minutes, and I'm not happy about this, by the way. Wenwu tells his origin story of how he and Lee gave up their past to have a family, and Wenwu wants to resurrect Lee from the dead, as Wenwu shows a water show of how she'll be back, which is a well done special effect. And Shang-Chi and Zieling refuse to help Wenwu, and they get locked up with Katie as they get in a cave where they see Trevor Slattery from Iron Man 3, which was the Ben Kingsley character, as he's reprising the role, which did shock the hell out of me, but at the same time, I'm not really happy about that at all. Because that movie was, well, I mean, it was better than Thor the Dark World, but it's still not a great movie. I thought really at the same time, as that moment didn't make me too happy, as he was the worst twist from Iron Man 3, as they meet Morris, who's a creature without a face, as it's the cutest thing that I would hug it. And he's the best character in this movie, as Zieling fights a way out of imprisonment to the garage, which was rather clever in my opinion. Shang-Chi, Zieling, Katie, Trevor, and Morris get out of Wenwu's house as he prepares to burn down Lee's village, as they go out in a clever way. I did find it hilarious that Trevor was inspired to act by the original Planet of the Apes, which is one of my favorite movies, while they're waiting for the village of Ta Lo to let them while in a car. As they get in, Katie drives rather intensely as Trevor explains the plants will eat them alive, but luckily that doesn't happen as they get out of there alive. and go under a waterfall and get to the village. And the scenes at the village looks gorgeous, as I thought one of the creatures in the village was a lion. They almost get kicked out of the village as Shang-Chi and Xialing's Aunt Ying Nan, or Nan for short, as they explain when she explains Wenwu is coming to burn down the village and to open the gate to let her out of her hiding place. As Shang-Chi and Xialing train extra on their kung fu, and like Li did, before she had children with Katie, while, well, not with Katie, but with Shang-Chi and Xialing, while Katie trains to shoot dragon arrows from bows, which is a cool special effect. And I love these scenes at the village as it looks gorgeous. As this movie is pretty to look at, Shang-Chi wants to know how to beat Wenwu the same way Li did in the past. And as he learns with Nan, as well as controlling the wind as a power, as the effects are done very well, while he gets better with the wind, Xialing trains with a dangerous string weapon, and Katie shoots the dragon arrow rather well. And I'm liking this montage right off the bat. The night before Shang-Chi thinks about how Li died as he saw it all those years ago, as he watches, and Wenwu was not there to witness it, and Shang-Chi did nothing about it, like I brought up earlier. Wenwu kills the Iron Gang, who killed Li at the time, with his power of the Ten Rings, while Shang-Chi also watches and sends Shang-Chi to go after the real killer behind the death of Li. And Shang-Chi tells Katie about it, how he had a messed up life in the past, which is a sad story that doesn't really make me want to read the comic books, in my opinion. The next day comes as they prepare for battle. Wenwu, as well as Death Dealer and Razor Fist and others in his Ten Rings, arrive in the village of Ta Lo to fight and get Li out of the gate. And Wenwu goes inside as Shang-Chi goes after Wenwu, and they start fighting. And Wenwu puts Shang-Chi in the water as he thinks he's dead, but a dragon rises up and saves his life and flies with him. And I do like the choreography in these scenes. And Wenwu gets to the gate, and lets the lethal dragon out of the gate. And baby dragons come out and kill Death Dealer as Xialing and Nan tell Razor Fist they need to work together as they're very lethal killing machines, which was hysterical, but kind of not realistic to my eyes. But they do so anyways. Shang-Chi and his dragon rise from the water and eats quite a bit of the baby lethal dragons. And they go to where Wenwu is opening the gate and knock him down. And they once again fight the same way Li beat him in the beginning of the movie, which was clever as Morris thinks Trevor is dead, as it was a performance, as he's like a puppy dog, which is very cute. Wenwu throws his 10 rings at Shang-Chi, and he learns he has controlled some, but his are yellow, while Wenwu's are blue, and they fight some more, and he drops his 10 rings to the ground, and as he tries to convince his father, the dragon is not really Li, as when it comes out, he learns it's a dragon, and not his wife, as Wenwu sacrifices his life and gives Shang-Chi the 10 rings on his arms, and the menacing dragon almost kills the good dragon that Shang-Chi has, and Xialing almost gets killed, but Katie shoots dragon at the menacing dragon's throat, and the good dragon survives and saves Shang-Chi and Xialing's lives as they win the battle and honor the dead on the water and have lunch with their two good friends back in America. Those are the same people from the beginning of the movie, which I never brought up before. As Wong comes in to talk with Shang-Chi and Katie as they look at the Ten Rings along with Bruce Banner and Carol Danvers, and recruits them as part of the Avengers, and they go to a karaoke and sing Hotel California, which was a funny way to get to the credits rolling, to one more after credits scene with Xialing taking over the Ten Rings group, as it shows us the Ten Rings will return, and the climax is fun and at the same time very good setting up the future. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 8.0 out of 10. The characters were fun as the cinematography was magnificent, the choreography was tremendous, while the acting was kind of corny, but sometimes very funny at the same time. It's fun as it does a good job at setting up the future as of them as part of the Avengers team, and at the end of the day, is a breathtaking experience as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just like Eternals might be, as I did see the trailer before this movie. So we'll be back next time when Eternals maybe comes out, or there might be Ms. Marvel or Hawkeye. Well, Hawkeye's after Eternals. So until we get to those times, Avengers Assemble!